Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today we've definitely got one game against Wolves, but we've also got plenty of transfer stuff to get through and a sort of a mini transfer special. So we might play the Arsenal game. It sort of depends how busy we are with transfers, because I don't want this episode to be too long, so we're going to go with that. Wolves definitely coming up, but we might see what happens with some of the fixtures, depending on how transfers go. So, we'll jump straight in with how we've been since you were last here. And it's not actually been that bad, I've got to say. We've been relatively okay. You were last here. What was it for? I think you were last here for was it Stoke and West Ham? It was Stoke and West Ham. The 1-0 loss to Stoke and a 0-0 draw to West Ham. Straight away after that, we played Chelsea at home and we lost it to a 90th minute goal. So many times we've conceded very late on in games, and this is another one of those examples. 90th minute for Chelsea. We could have picked up a point, but instead came out of it absolutely pointless. But we did pick up 3 points against Aston Villa away from home. Lee Philippe getting on the score sheet, not once, but twice in that game. So that was really good for Lee Philippe. He also got on the score sheet against Manchester City after we grabbed a very impressive 1-1 draw against them. I was really pleased with the way he played in this game. Lee Philippe scored in the opening moments of the game. After that, we didn't really have much of a chance or getting any shots on the board. It was all Man City, but we managed to defend very, very well there and make sure we came away with a single point from that game. So I think we can take a lot of positives from that game. I thought we'd carry them through into the Swansea game, but we didn't. We lost it 2-0 at home, so that was kind of disappointing, that game. But then we had two draws on the bounce. One against Southampton, which was relatively decent. Lee Philippe, though, did pick up an injury in that game, so that was quite frustrating after he'd had quite a decent run of games, Lee Philippe, in the previous few ones, and getting a few goals as well, so that was good. But then after that, we had a 2-2 draw with Liverpool this time, and I was really pleased with that result as well. We left it pretty late, I've got to say. We actually took the lead through Michael Pomeroy before they scored 2 goals themselves, and then Jefferson Brullinger scored a penalty in the 89th minute to make sure we grabbed a draw there. So we picked up some vital points, I've got to say, against City and Liverpool. Very pleased with those results. We did play Chelsea in the FA Cup third round and lost it 2-0. Disappointing that we've not done particularly well in the Cups. Lost in the Carabao Cup second round to Sunderland and lost in the FA Cup third round to Chelsea. It's not the best. I wanted better. We had quite high cup expectations, I think. So the board are going to be cross with me for that. So we have to avoid relegation now. Basically not to get sacked, actually, I would say. If we get relegated, because we've not done well in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, and I said we would avoid a relegation battle, if we actually get relegated, there's a good chance I might get sacked. Those results mean that we actually sit 17th on 17 points after 20 games. So it's all okay at the moment. Grab a win today or so, we might jump up to 15th, which is pretty good. But there is quite the gap now between 15th and 14th and the rest of the table. So it's sort of Southampton down. These are the teams that we're battling with now to avoid relegation. I don't think Villa, Wolves, Watford, they're going to be caught up in any relegation battle. It's sort of between Southampton, Huddersfield, us, Swansea, Leicester and Everton for the rest of the season now. So we have to really switch on and play very well, especially against those sides. Now, on to the transfers then. We've got a few days before the Wolves game, but 3 transfers on the table and 1 actually to leave the club. Sam Durant is a player that you probably haven't really seen much of. We brought him in for the Championship season, but really wasn't very good. He played 1 game in the Championship. He's made 2 appearances off the bench for us this season. Who wants him on loan? Was it Blackpool wants him on loan? They want to pay nothing for him. Basically, I'm going to offer 100% wages, and if you give us 100k a month as well, you can have him. Because I want to make some money off him, because, I mean, we need to make some money. They've withdrawn the offer. What we are going to do, actually, is just offer him out to clubs. If he's not going to play, offer him out for 60k, see if anyone bites on that. Surely someone will at some point. He's just a waste of money. We have got 3 transfers potentially coming in. This first guy, called Sebastian Nerello, for 11.5 million. We're going to have to cancel a transfer of him because we've only got £3 million in the transfer budget left. And I thought we had a lot more money available to us if we changed our wage budget into transfer budget. But if we slide it all the way along to get the maximum amount of transfer budget, then that's only £10 million. And that £10 million means that we can't sign any more players because we can't pay their wages. So although this Sebastian Nerello guy looks pretty good on the surface, we can't sign him because we're trying to pay £11 million outright for him. So we are going to cancel the deal at the moment, unfortunately. That's my mistake. We will try and put a bid in for him. In fact, let's try and put another bid in for him now, actually. Now, they want 11.5 million. We're going to offer 1 million up front. We're going to offer 3 instalments over 12 months of £2 million each, £2.5 million. Oh no, actually that's £2.5 million total. We want to offer that in 3 instalments, so £7.5 million, which takes up to about 8.5 million. We'll make an offer of that, see if they bite on that one instead. The Sebastian Nerello deal is off the table for the moment though, so don't panic about that one. Next up is this guy called Gomes, Carolitos Gomes, coming in from a Portuguese side for £3.7 million. He's 19 years old, not quite as good, but he is a centre midfielder that we need. He is young, he has got potential, and potential to be quite good in the future, so we're going to offer him a contract. He wants 20k per week, apparently. So we're going to bring it down to 16. We want to get rid of unused substitute fee. And we want to get rid of... We want to take the appearance fee down to about 3.5. Goal bonus 2.5. Clean sheet 2.5. We'll give his agent an extra 50k or so just to keep his agent a little bit happy. Suggest those terms and he's happy with that straight away. So we'll finalise that deal then. This guy could be coming through. And then the other chap we've got coming in, not massively keen on a contract at the moment, but we've got David Smith coming in from Liverpool, just because it seems like quite a cheap deal for a young English centre-back who could be quite good at 3.5-star current ability at the moment, with 5-star potential as well. I feel like this, considering Liverpool letting him go for 2.9 million, I think our scouts may have got it wrong a little bit, and this is potentially a bad deal for us. But he wants to be rotation. Let's offer that out and see what happens in the next few days when we try to offer him a contract. If we do sign players this window, we probably actually need to... I mean, if we get Smith and we get Gomes, that's, what, 5 million or so gone from our transfer budget? We've only got 3 million in it at the moment, so that's a bit of wage budget down. So any more transfers after these two, if they go through, we're going to have to try and get like loads of future fees and things like that to actually push them through. Smith wants 18k per week, apparently, which is quite low. Let's take it even lower, down to about 14k. Yearly wage rise, get rid of that. Unused substitute fee, get rid of that. Clean sheet down to 2.5. Appearance fee down to 3.5. Let's see. Let's up his agent fee a little bit. His agent might say yes if we up to 75k. He wants a bit more. He wants a lot more in wages. Bring that down to 15k. Appearance back down to 4. Clean sheet 2.5. We're sort of a little bit stuck. 16k. That's all right. We can get that deal done. They both seem like good contracts with good young players coming through. I'm happy with both of those. Donker's now picked up an injury for 2 to 3 weeks. And we are still primarily playing with a CDM. And he's our only CDM. So, back to the drawing board. Let's see if we can sign one of those guys as well. So there's a few centre defensive midfielders who are interested in a transfer to us. Question is, how many of them are affordable? And looking, I mean, there's a few, maybe. There's a few. But, like, none of them look amazing. I won't lie to you. This guy who plays for Fulham, I feel like we've got an old scout report. He's not been scouted out this year. Although, actually saying that was only 2 or 3 months ago. So not too far away. We could maybe get this guy in to play as a CDM ahead of Donker, but he's not really a CDM, which is the issue. This guy, Jamie Austin, he plays for Stade Rennais in the 2nd division in France for some reason. Not quite sure why he's gone there, but he's a natural in that position. Relatively good as well. Perhaps not quite what we're looking for at the moment, but can we get him on loan, do you reckon? We actually can get him on loan. They want a big... I say that. They want us to pay 100% of his wages, which I'm fine to do, actually, but I'm not paying that kind of money. I'm not paying £2.4 million per month to have him. That's unacceptable, apparently. Transfer offer, then. Again, we can't afford much, so maybe £1 million up front, and then an extra £4 million in 3 instalments over 12 months. Extra £5 million. Let's make that offer. See what they say about this for Jamie Austin. The issue we've got, there just don't really seem to be many good CDMs interested in a transfer to us. If we get rid of this interest in transfer, there are one or more, there's a few more players, but really we're not looking at spending huge amounts of money, unfortunately. We can't afford these kind of players. I mean, this Claudio Scolari guy, he looks quite good in the CDM position. Good enough for this level. Can we suggest 6.5 million? They want 21 million. Okay, we're not buying this guy, unfortunately. This guy, Aaron Hayward at West Brom. Now, he looks too good for the Championship, but he's on a lot of money, and that's an issue, I suppose. He's already had a contract accepted. Oh, he's joining Celta Vigo. Okay, that's unfortunate. We can't sign him. This chap, Lee Pugh, who plays for FC Dallas, maybe he's the one to go for. Maybe. He's natural, 23 years old, relatively cheap as well at the moment. He's extremely interested in the transfer. Apparently we can get him for free, but we can't offer him a contract. If we make an offer of 0, what do they say to that? Unacceptable. Of course they do. £1 million then. Let's instalments, 6 monthly instalments, 3 of them for another £1 million. After 50 games for the club, another £1 million. How does this sound, FC Dallas? Our next bid for Nerello has been rejected. We will go back in again, actually. Let's make £10 million in instalments. Suggest that. That's unacceptable. What about 11 million, lads? Well, we'll keep going with Nerello a little bit. This time, a few offers have been made for Sam Durant, but they're not looking like they're only paying a little bit of his wage, if we're being honest. But and yeah, to be fair, I'd rather keep him as a little bit of cover, actually, rather than just let him go for nothing to the club for the rest of the season. So Durant is going to be staying at the club until the end of the season. That's when he obviously is going to be moving on. Stade Rennais then, this is Jamie Austin. Okay, they want a lot of money for him, which we cannot afford. We can't basically, no, we can't afford him at the moment, which is an issue. We spent all our money on Brazilian regions at the start of the season. Really, I should have spent less on Brazilian regions and probably a bit more smartly, but quite frankly, where is the fun in that? Dallas have also rejected the offer for Philippe Coutinho. He's actually got a minimum fee release clause of £3.8 million. So if we just put this up to 1.8 million, does that? No, it doesn't actually do it, because it's not outright 3.8 million, is it? Which is frustrating. Maybe we do this then. We just put the 3.8 million on the line for him. We buy him for £3.8 million. We go for that. And we have to cancel one of these 2 transfers. We need the midfielder. David Smith, we don't need as desperately at the back. And although he's good, when does his contract finish? Contract info. It actually finishes at the end of the season for Liverpool. If they're willing to sell him now, he's probably going to go at the end of the season, isn't he? So we'll cancel that one for him. And we'll try and go for these 2 midfielders. Because midfield, that is the area we need more than anything right now. For God's sake, why did I not wait for this in the first place? He doesn't want to join us, this guy. Now we're stuffed. So just cancel the transfer for no good reason, really. And if we try and bid again, they'll accept it, but he won't want to join us because we've rejected his contract offer, basically. So that's an issue. On a slightly more positive note, we should have a work permit coming through for Gomes in the next few days. Fingers crossed we don't have to go to sort of any sort of tribunal, or what they actually call appeals. That's what I'm looking for, appeal. Hopefully we don't have to appeal against it. It will just go through straight away. West Brom are now trying to get this guy in, Alex Mahon, although he's a guy we didn't particularly want in the end because actually he wasn't that good in the end, we decided. And on the grounds that I am 20 minutes plus into this recording already, we're only going to do the Wolves game today. Otherwise, today's episode, having 2 games and trying to get a load of transfer business done, will be way too long. So just the Wolves game in today's episode. Right then, heading into today's game against Wolves then, we are running a bit of an injured side out there. We've got Sorolina and Donker out of injuries completely. Pomeroy's just come back from an injury, as is Lee Philippe, and so is Abel. So we have got a little bit of a battered lineup out there, but Jose Pedro in goal as per usual. A pretty standard backline of Garana, Taverny, Brillinger and Smith. Richard Latham has to come into that CDM for the injured Donker. Ferguson and Tyrone Fenney starting in midfield just ahead. We desperately need new players here. The more I look at it, the more I know we need it. It's just, I'm not quite sure if we're going to get that quality in this January transfer window, so we're going to have to try and wait for next season to get that quality in. Christensen on the left, obviously. Abel slightly injured on the right. And Pomeroy leads the line today on the grounds. He's a little bit fitter than Lee Philippe at the moment. Both coming back from injuries, though. So hopefully they grab some goals. We'll probably swap them out at some point in today's game. But hopefully they grab some goals. and we actually run out winners here against Wolves. We've not won a game on camera yet. We've not really won many games this season at all. Maybe 3 games this season I think we might have won. Not many games at all, but hopefully today against Wolves we get the business done. So kickoff is upon us here today. Wolves obviously playing in their usual orange gold kit, whatever you want to call it, and we're playing in our whites today. Hopefully it will pick up a good win as Abel puts an early corner in, but it's cleared by the first man, but only as far as Brullinger. And Abel with another chance to put it in to Latham at the far post, who really should have lathered it home, but didn't in the end. Leathered it home. Lathered is what you do with soap. You lather the soap on you in the shower. Leathered it. That's what I meant to say. Come on, Tom. Use your words properly. Christensen can't win the ball, and Wolves coming forward, putting it in the back of a net. You hate to see it. I mean, it was a poor challenge. I mean, Christensen should have done a lot better there, to be fair. And then we've just got no defenders around. And, I mean, Jose Pedro should have done better there as well. It's a mess, basically. That was a mess. I really want to stay in the Premier League this season. I don't think going down would be the worst thing. But the issue I have with relegation, it's a real threat that we're facing at the moment. A real threat at the moment. The issue is, right, if we stay up, we're more likely to attract better quality players, and maybe next season we might finish up 12th, 13th, 14th, something like that. If we go down, we do get quite big parachute payments, so we will have a lot of money still, and I think we would bounce straight back up, especially the players that we've got. We would bounce straight back up. However, my concern is that when we do bounce straight back up, because we wouldn't have the same reputation we would have of being in the Premier League for 2 seasons in a row, we'd still have some rubbish championship reputation sort of thing. We'd just be in the same situation like this again, really fighting against relegation, conceding a second goal to Wolves like that, for example. Whereas next season, I'd like us to go and beat Wolves, for example, that sort of thing. And on goal difference now, or goals scored, something like that, we do drop down to 18th actually now, despite no one else playing at the same time as us. We do drop down to 18th because goal difference and things like that. So that's frustrating as well. Really, Jose Pedro should have been better there as well. I don't know how they managed to score that goal. But we need to sort things out. Being relegated wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I think we'd be in this exact same situation again. Whereas if we do manage to stay up, I think we'll be able to attract some better quality players and progress a bit more next season. Frustratingly, we have been the side on top massively. We've been the much better side out here today. Look at all the shots, possession, everything that we've had. It's really annoying, actually, because usually we're not quite as good in games, but we have been dominant here today. I didn't even look at the stats, but we have been dominant here today. And yet Wolves, with that extra bit of quality that they have managed to capitalise on us. Lee Phillips going to come on for Pomeroy. Abel is going to come off. We can't come off, can he? No one to come on for, unfortunately. So he's got to stay on the pitch. Wolves have just grabbed another goal as well. You hate to see that. We'll bring Lyle Stone on at the back for Theo Taverny. We may as well just give him a bit of minutes and things like that. We're 3-0 down. What's the point, really? Come on. It's a throw-in, and then the shot comes from the edge of the area, does it? It does come from the edge. It comes from the edge of the area. That's the only goal that probably should have gone in the back of it. The first 2 goals, we should have. Defensively, we should have done better with that. But that was an unstoppable shot, really, when you put it down to things like that. So, not the best game at all. This a 3-0 loss to Wolves, despite us being the better side, is really upsetting. Actually, it's quite upsetting. We've got 15 games to go this season. After this, 15 games. That's not a lot of games to go, and we've got to pick up some points from somewhere. Ideally, I mean, we want to be on 35, 40 points, really, to be guaranteed of avoiding relegation, I would say. And at the moment, nowhere near it. So I think we've still got to play Swansea, Southampton, Huddersfield, Leicester and Everton at some point. If we win those 5 games, we'll be safe from relegation, I say. That's what I reckon. But it's not brilliant, is it? And now some more results have come through. It drops us down to 19th in the table. Still level on points at Huddersfield, but we are now 2 points behind Swansea. And that is something we need to address very, very quickly. So we're now at the 9th of January and work permit declined rather. So we've got to appeal it and... Okay, he plays in the Portuguese league, doesn't he? I can't remember if they're a top 6 or not. We'll appeal it. I can't. We need the points for now. He's not going to get the points for wage. He might get points for being in the top 50% of earners in the club, maybe. Friday the 13th. We've got to wait till for that. Never a good day. Friday the 13th is never a good day. So I'm not holding out much hope at all for this transfer, unfortunately. It's actually going to happen though, isn't it? It's actually going to happen. A transfer special episode with no transfers. Come on then. It's Friday the 13th. Give me the bad news. Work permit rejected. And well, we can't sign him because we can't use him, can we? So cancel. Brilliant. 3 transfers. None of them come through, and that's half the transfer window gone. You love to see it. So I've got some work to do over the second half of this transfer window. Really, really do need to do a lot of work in the second half. For goodness sake, Tom, you idiot. Right. Anyway, I'll do some work in the second half of the transfer window. And next episode, who have we got coming up soon then? We got Arsenal. Everton will be a good game to do, but they're 20th and it's a bit too soon. Anyone else also down there? We don't really. We get Brighton and Leicester and Stoke, and when are we actually playing teams that are below us? Right. The last 2 games of the season are huge. Then I think next episode we go through to the end of January and we go in and we take on Huddersfield and Newcastle. I think they could be quite interesting games. We won't beat United. We might have a stab against Watford. We won't beat Tottenham. We need to beat Everton, and we will probably lose to Arsenal. So expect at least 3 points. But you can never quite be sure of these things. But Huddersfield and Newcastle, though, will be in tomorrow's episode, though. So, in the end, a disappointing episode. I feel like I've wasted your time a bit with this one because we made no signings. We lost 3-0. It was a disaster. So I apologise. So if you somehow enjoyed that, please do drop a like on the video for me. But in the meantime, I'll see you next time. Have a good evening. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.